9 races to go, 6 more spots up for grabs. The 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season has seen some new contenders step up to the plate. The last 5 races have all seen 5 different winners, but instead of the usual Toyota and Chevrolet battle, Ford is trying to steal the show in the final stretch of the regular season and continue their momentum into the magic mile of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudoun, New Hampshire for the running of the USA Today 301. However, our chances to go racing today are not that well. The weather, not good at all here in Loudoun, New Hampshire. Low 80s, a 90% chance of rain, and an 82% possibility of thunderstorms around the racetrack with 7-mile-an-hour wind heading south-southeast towards the racetrack. And an update, NASCAR has moved up the start time an hour to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to an episode of MDK Race Day. My name is Jet. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I say race day, but who knows if we'll even go racing here later today. We will give you updates as soon as they come from NASCAR on whether or not we will be racing today here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. But regardless, we do have some stuff to preview heading into New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So let's start off with our news and notes. The biggest story comes from Christopher Bell. Unfortunately, he holds the top store today, and trust me, he did not want to be the top store for this one. So the controversy, I shouldn't say the controversy, but the story revolving Chase Briscoe. He has been a free agent ever since Stewart-Haas Racing announced their closure at season's end. And he's been a hot topic. He has had multiple offers from multiple teams, but there are a lot of sources that are linking him to replacing Martin Truex Jr. at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025 when Truex ultimately retires at the end of this year. Now, it was basically all but confirmed, but Christopher Bell accidentally confirmed it yesterday.
I don't think that there really is a leadership role in that aspect. And whenever Chase comes into the car, whenever I don't even know what to say. Whenever we have a new driver into the 19 car, whoever that is.
Oh, Christopher. I love Christopher Bell, but come on, you had to spill it. You picked the one guy that you could have said any other name. Now, yes, you could have said, oh, it could be Chase Elliott. No. We all knew, and even Chris knew, and you could tell by how quickly his face went from white to red like that. He knew that he gave away the announcement. And Chase Briscoe responded to that by saying this.
When you saw the highlights of Christopher Bell's press conference yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that it changed a lot of things. I think in the silly season, I need to call probably Rick now, just now that the nines opened up and changed a lot of things. That's a domino that nobody really saw coming. So, yeah, I just kind of laughed at it. I thought it was pretty good. Typical Christopher. It was pretty funny.
Are you angry that he's apparently spoiled your news?
I mean, I felt like kind of everybody kind of knows what's going on, right? So, I don't know. I think the official announcement, whenever that is, hopefully we can have something official soon. But, yeah, I wasn't really mad at it. It was kind of funny, I thought.
Is it nice to apparently have your future set?
Yes. Nothing's official until it's official, right?
Now listen, it was an honest mistake. Obviously Christopher Bell, you could tell he felt very, very bad. He did not want to announce it, didn't want to spoil the surprise. But I would argue that's the best thing I've heard a driver be announced to a new team is that. Everyone does the press conferences, but I've never heard of a driver accidentally give away a news like that. So I thought it was funny, but yeah, Briscoe to the 19 car. Thanks to Christopher Bell. And finally, our other story revolving around the former team that I just mentioned closing now with Stewart-Haas Racing. Now, Tony Stewart, no surprise, if you've been following Stewart and NASCAR's relationship in recent years, Stewart's relationship with the organization has gone very sour. So it's not surprising to see him be done with NASCAR, focus more on his NHRA drag racing team. However, news came this week that his co-partner, Gene Haas, will be staying in NASCAR. Now, yes, there were reports revolving around all 4 charters being sold. One we already know is going to Front Row, and there were 3 charters up for grabs. Maybe one to 2311, one to Trackhouse, maybe another one to Front Row. Nobody knew at the time where these charters would be going. But Gene Haas will be staying in NASCAR, rebranding the team as the Haas Factory Team that will operate out of the existing SHR building, and will keep 1 charter. They'll keep 1 charter in the Cup Series and still run 2 run 2 Xfinity Series teams for 2025. In a statement, Gene Haas said, quote, "My commitment to motorsports hasn't changed, just the scope of my involvement. Operating a 4-car Cup Series team has become very arduous, but at the same time, I still need a platform to promote Haas Automation and grow HaasTooling.com. Maintaining my presence in Cup allows Haas Automation to compete at NASCAR's highest level, which is important to our customers and distributors. The Xfinity Series program provides a full weekend experience for our guests, and it delivers at a depth and scale to our overall operation." Now, Joe Custer will oversee that whole operation, which more than likely leads to assume that Cole Custer will have a role in the Haas Factory Team one way or another. Either it could be staying in the Xfinity Series or maybe going up to the Cup Series. Now, again, at this time, no team, or I should say no numbers, nor no drivers have been announced as of yet. Now, it is interesting, his statement that Gene Haas gave, him basically kind of focusing more on the point of promoting Haas Automation, HaasTooling.com, being able to support our distributors and things like that. Obviously, him staying in NASCAR is a big commitment deal, but I wonder how committed will they be? I mean, will they regress back to the Haas CNC days when they were a top 20, top 15 team? How will they, and actually I should say that, but to be fair, they've kind of been that this year, but how will they quote unquote progress for 2025, having less people, less cars, just less everything to deal with? Will they continue this momentum? Because SHR, they have been getting better and better in recent weeks. Now they're scaling back from 4 cars to 1 car. How will that affect their performance in terms of will they get a partnership maybe with Front Row Motorsports or with Team Penske or something like that? How will this change the direction as to how Gene Haas and Joe Custer views Haas Factory Team as a whole? That will be interesting to see, and obviously more details will come out later in the year. Now let's take a look at the point standings following Iowa. 9 races to go, and we have a new driver at the top of the point standings. Chase Elliott takes over the points lead ahead of his teammate Kyle Larson by just 8 points. Denny Hamlin stays in 3rd with 38 points behind. Byron jumps up 2 spots to 4th place, minus 54. Truex minus 61. He is just outside the 60 race point gap. And then 6th place is Tyler Reddick, who falls to 6th, I should say. Blaney up 5 spots. He was outside the top 10 and now is 7th for last week's winner. Bell jumps up 1 spot to 8th. Keselowski falls 2 spots to 9th. And Ross Chastain once again remains in 10th, minus 112. And as we take a look at the playoff grid, left side all completely locked in green. Now, only 6 spots are technically up for grabs. However, drivers like Cindric, Suarez, and even Keselowski, they are not out of the woods just yet because we do have more races to go. We have 9 races. Technically, we could have 8 winners in these next 9 races, and those bottom 3 drivers could be out, possibly. So it is very interesting to see how these final 9 races will play out. But Truex, Chastain, Gibbs, and Bowman, they're currently safe for at least 1 race if we don't have a new winner. Buescher and Wallace remains 15th and 16th, plus 27 for Buescher and plus 6 of Wallace, ahead of Joey Logano. Busch, with his mechanical problems, falls to 18th, minus 31. Briscoe 19th, minus 44 below the cut line. And Todd Gilliland moves into the top 20 though, minus 97. Now, qualifying was rained out yesterday. As a result, NASCAR had to rely on their metric system to start the starting lineup. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 2024 USA Today 301. For today's race, the Cup Series points leader who has finished 3rd and 4th the last 2 races, but here in New Hampshire, only 2 top 5s in his 10 starts. To his outside is the defending champion, his buddy Ryan Blaney, last week's winner, also only 2 top 5s in his Cup Series career here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Row 2 is William Brown, who won a truck race here back in 2016, still looking for his first top 10 finish in the Cup Series in his 7th start. starts alongside one of the best here at the Magic Mile, Christopher Bell. 5 wins between Cup and Xfinity, including winning yesterday's race, and he has won here in the Cup Series 2 years ago. Row 3 has Alex Bowman in the 48 car, who has been on a consistent run. 6 top 10s in the last 8 races this season, but only 1 finish inside the top 10 at New Hampshire here back in 2021. Starts alongside the 22 car of Joey Logano, the 2-time winner here, but the last time he went to victory lane at New Hampshire 10 years ago, back in 2014, and he is still looking for his first points-paying win this year. In the 7th position is Martin Truex Jr., who won a Busch North race here back in 2000 that kick-started his legendary career, competes for the final time in the 7th spot. The defending winner is also looking to end his career with his 2nd ever lobster. Starts alongside Ross Chastain, who has the best finish of 8th here twice. And right out the top 10 is Brad Keselowski in the number 6 car, 2-time winner here in New Hampshire. Starting alongside the rookie, Josh Berry, who finished 7th last week, is competing for the very first time in the Cup Series here at this racetrack. Row 6 has Daniel Suarez, who has 3 top 10s and 8 starts. Starts alongside Tyler Reddick, who has 2 top 10s and 6 starts with the best finish of 6th last year. Row 7 has Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who finished 5th at Iowa last week, has 2 top 10s here at this racetrack. Starts alongside Denny Hamlin, one of 2 active drivers that have won here at this racetrack 3 times, with the best average finish among all active drivers with a 9.4. Starts in the 14th position. Row 8 has Chris Buescher looking for his first top 10 finish here at this racetrack. Starts alongside Todd Gillen, number 38 Ford, finished in the top 15 in the last 6 races this year, including a 10th at Sonoma 2 weeks ago. Row 9 has Bubba Wallace, 2 top 10s in the last 2 races here, including a best finish of 3rd in 2022. Starts alongside Ty Gibbs, still looking for his first top 20 finish in a NASCAR National Series race here at New Hampshire, but does have a win in the ARCA Menards East Division back in 2019. Row 10 has Kyle Larson trying to rebound following last week's crash. Still no wins here at this racetrack, but does have a best finish of 2nd here in 3 different occasions. Starts alongside the rookie Carson Hocevar, competing for the very first time ever here at New Hampshire. Noah Gragson, 1 top 10 in his entire time here at New Hampshire, a 10th back in 2019 the Xfinity Series. Starts alongside the number 3 driver of Austin Dillon, 2 top 10s here with the best finish of 8th in 2015. Row 12 has Chase Briscoe, scored his first top 10 here last year, alongside Justin Haley, a best finish of 17th last year. However, this year, that 51 team has been building up some momentum, 3 top 15 finishes in the last 5 Cup races in 2024. Row 13 has Michael McDowell, who had a best finish of 13th here last year, starting alongside Corey LaJoie, looking for his first top 20 finish in his 10th career start. Row 14 has Harrison Byrne, who finished 5th here in 2021 in the Xfinity Series, has the best finish of 20th in the Cup Series at New Hampshire in his only 2 starts. Started alongside John Hunter Nemechek, who won the Xfinity Series race here back in 2023. Row 15 has Austin Cindric in the number 2-4, best finish of 13th here 2 years ago, starting alongside Kyle Busch, the other 3-time winner. However, he hasn't been to victory lane in more than a year, a 38-race winless streak for Rowdy Busch. Row 16 has Ryan Preece, who won a modified race here back in 2021, starting alongside Eric Jones, who has the best finish of 3rd in his 8 previous appearances. Row 17 has Daniel Hemrick, 37th in his only Cup Series start back in 2019, but does have 2 top 5 finishes in the Xfinity Series, starting alongside rookie Zane Smith, another driver competing for the very first time here at New Hampshire. And rounding out the 36 car field is rookie Kaz Grala, also competing for the first time in New Hampshire, and the number 16 Chevrolet of Ty Dillon. Here's a look at the odds to win here at New Hampshire. Kyle Larson and Hamlin plus 400 apiece for those 2 drivers. Byron at plus 500, Bell at plus 700, with Blaney at plus 900. Pole sitter Chase Elliott sitting at 1,000, Reddick at plus 1,200. A couple of underdogs that could potentially spoil. You can make some pretty good money with these drivers. Brad Keselowski plus 1,400, as well as Martin Truex Jr. Ty Gibbs rounds out the first page at plus 2,200. Second page involves Joey Logano. First up, a dark horse plus 2,200. You can make some serious money if you go with him. Chastain at plus 2,500, Buescher plus 3,000. And then we start to get into the long shots. Kyle Busch plus 4,500. Wallace and Bowman 5,000 apiece. Cindric plus 6,000. Then rounding out is Suarez and Briscoe 10,000 and Josh Berry at 15,000. So what can we expect here at New Hampshire? Well, not much. Again, we don't even know if we're going to be racing today. And if that's the case, that could wash off all the rubber. If let's say this race gets pushed to Monday, that could wash off all the rubber and we could have a green racetrack. These teams only got 5 minutes of practice before the rest of the session was called off due to rain. So drivers are kind of going into this blind. Not necessarily though, considering the last 2 races were driven under the next gen car. But one thing that is consistent with the theme of New Hampshire that I feel like will continue this year is the domination of Ford and Toyota. Toyota has won the last 2 races at New Hampshire. Truex in 23 and Bell in 22. And you know these drivers are going to be a factor this year. You also look at a guy like Denny Hamlin trying to rebound after his issues last weekend at Iowa. And you also got to throw in the 2311 drivers of Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. They both finished in the top 10 last year. And I mentioned Bubba Wallace had a finish of 3rd here back in 2022. You got to count your money on all the Toyota drivers except for Legacy Motor Club, sorry. But you got to count your money on those, on Joe Gibbs Racing and 2311 drivers of having very strong runs. So if you're going to make bets or predict anything, it's a pretty safe bet to go with Toyota. But what about Ford? Let's look at Ford for a minute because the last few weeks, they've been getting better and better, especially on tracks shorter than a mile and the flat tracks. Iowa, a track that is shorter than a mile, 7/8, was won by Ryan Blaney, driving in a Ford car. We go to Gateway a few weeks ago, kind of similar to New Hampshire. Who won that? Austin Cindric, a Ford driver. And regardless, if Cindric didn't win, Blaney was going to win that race. But regardless, Penske showed up. And I think the same can apply here today. Think about it. Ford have won 4 of the last 6 New Hampshire races. So I'm going to open this up a little bit. Not only am I including the Penske drivers, I'll even throw in Cindric into the mix, but I can bet at least Logano and Blaney, they're going to be forces to be reckoned with. But look at also Stewart-Haas Racing for a little bit. Don't count them out. Josh Berry, Ryan Preece, this is their type of track. I would not be surprised one bit to see the 4 and the 41 car show speed. And also the 10 and the 14. The 10 and the 14 have been the best drivers, in my opinion, from the SHR stable. They've just been able to just be there at the end in the top 10 or around the top 10. And this is a track that we look back in 2021, 3 years ago, where Stewart-Haas Racing, they seem to be falling off. They went to Victory Lane at New Hampshire with Eric Almirola of all drivers. So when you consider all of that, I'm not saying Stewart-Haas Racing, they're going to be a team to beat today or tomorrow, depending on when this race takes place. But what I am saying is that they could be very dark horses. They could be the type of team that you do not expect. You don't even think about it, but they're going to show some speed here. I mentioned Josh Berry, plus 15,000. I'm just saying, put him in the top 10, that ain't a bad bet at all. But we end this off with Chevrolet. Of the 3 manufacturers, Chevrolet is entering New Hampshire as the weakest, which, again, contrary to what has been the theme of the 2024 season, which has been Chevrolet, Toyota, Hendrick, Gibbs. Today, I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be Penske with a little bit of SHR against Gibbs with a little bit of 2311. I don't see Chevrolet showing up. Think about it. Chevrolet has only won in New Hampshire twice since 2012. 2012 in July with Casey Kane and 2016 with Kevin Harvick. 2016, that was the last time Chevrolet won a race at New Hampshire. You're talking about 8 races, an 8-year gap between the last time Chevrolet won. And I mentioned Hendrick. The last time they won was 12 years ago in a car 2 older generations. The last time they won was in the Gen 5 car, which to say that about Hendrick boggles my mind, but it's the truth. And last year, let's be honest, Hendrick last year wasn't all that stable considering the issues with Elliott and Bowman. But last year, Kyle Larson was the only driver at Hendrick to finish in the top 10. So when you consider all those factors, I don't know. I think it's going to be very difficult, for Chevrolet to have a shot at winning this race. As for the race itself, last year's races were pretty entertaining. They weren't the greatest races, but I thought they were pretty good, pretty fun to watch. It'll add a whole another element of intrigue with the threat of rain in the area. We saw yesterday in the Xfinity Series that NASCAR started the race, at least the first 10 or so laps on the wet weather tires. With the chance of rain in the area, I should say chance, more than likely it is going to rain and it may get rained out here on Sunday. NASCAR moving up the start time to 2 o'clock. We may get a part of that race be on the wet weather tires. If so, how will that play out with the strategy? Those are all going to be very interesting to watch. But I think the overall theme for this race is going to be Ford versus Toyota. Now, let's take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup for New Hampshire. I only got one Chevrolet driver in my garage, and that is Chase Elliott, because he has been the most consistent driver. Larson, he's either very great or crashes. I want to be on the safe side, so I pick a Chevy driver, and I'm going with Chase Elliott as my safe pick for my Fantasy Live lineup. But I have Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Josh Berry. Yes, I have a feeling Berry, I mean, he finished in the top 10 last weekend at Iowa. I just have a feeling that this is going to be a type of track where we could see Josh Berry show some speed again. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney wrapping up my starters. But the driver that I have winning this race, I have Joey Logano. I have Joey Logano going to victory lane here at New Hampshire, breaking that long winless streak. I think the last time we won was Atlanta in 2023. Yes, Atlanta 23 was the last time in the spring. So we're talking about a nearly 50 race winless streak. And what are the races in 2024? What are the races that Logano showed up? Well, you look at Iowa last week where he finished in 6th, 5th at Gateway, a track similar to New Hampshire, and a 2nd at Richmond this year. And he also finished 2nd last year at New Hampshire. So when you look at those races that he has done well in, I have my money on Joey Logano. I think he's going to win today or tomorrow at New Hampshire. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win the race? Who do you think is going to show up, or who do you think is going to fall? As we take a look at the final few races of the regular season to see who makes the NASCAR playoffs. As always, whenever the race does end, check back right here. As soon as possible, we have an episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop recapping everything from the Magic Mile, but that's for later. Until then, my name is Jet from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content, and we'll see you next time for another episode here on MDK.